Hello everyone, welcome to JS Geeks and my name is Deepak. Here in this tutorial I'm going to be talking about the first beginning step of creating any Angular application. See, the entire idea of creating this tutorial is to create a dashboard, something similar to what you see right now on your screen. So here you have multiple pages that we had already spoken about, authentication and whatnot, and similarly the error pages and stuff like that. So right, 401 and then you have 404. In order to create an application something similar to what you see on your screen, it requires you to basically understand what Angular component and various different aspects of Angular. And I really do not wish to jump on creating this dashboard right up. And the idea behind this is that if I start to create this dashboard from day zero, you may not be able to understand things very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be explaining you the basics of a small aspect of Angular, and then probably after 4 or 5 tutorials, after the basics are done, I'm going to be starting this particular tutorial where we will dive deeper into each of the aspect of Angular framework, right? Be it component, be it services, be it injection modules and whatnot, right? So stay tuned. So what I'm going to do is so stay tuned for all of this, and until then what I'm going to do is, I said that I'm going to be starting with the basic stuff first. You may see that this application is running on my browser. I'll take you to the code, and here in the code, if you look at the app component, you have all of this. So let me just remove and make it absolute empty. And please save this as well. And it says the so let me do this, and what I'll do is I'll just leave the router outlet here and remove everything from here. And let me save this, and now the application has compiled properly. Fine, I'll come to what router outlet is and everything else, but then before that I would want to explain about the basic component first, right? So in order to write basic component, I've already saved this. Now there is no error on the console, and I think I can close this as well, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be writing hello world, right? So in order to write hello world, what you really need to do is just basically go inside the component, and inside the component you may see that there are multiple different selectors over here. There are multiple different properties over here. Selector imports template URL, styles URL, right? So template URL is a place where you go and write your HTML related code. At this moment it is written as a router outlet, and that's something which I'm going to be explaining a little while later. But then let me just write hello world from Angular 19, right? And then just save this, and what I'm going to do is I'll just take it to the Chrome and show you how this worked, right? So now you can see that the application has rendered properly, and there is no console error as well. And so now you can see that Angular 19 or the hello world from Angular 19 has been written properly over here. Now there is another thing where I want to bring your attention to, the first of which is selector. So here in the selector, whatever you see written in between is the name through which your component will be referred in the HTML pages. So if you look at this app root, the same app root you would find here at index.html. As I said earlier in a previous tutorial and even in this tutorial, the root component of your application starts with app root. So app root is nothing but the same component which is given here in app component.ts class, and in that TS class the selector is the one which gets a place here in the index.html. as you can see here, there at line number 11. So imports properties is a property which is basically required to import all the dependencies, as I said earlier. So in this case, since it is going to be also displaying the router outlet in which we will display the whenever our application changes the route, but that's something I'm parking it for the future. But just understand that imports is usually a place where other component dependency would be inserted in your main component. Template URL is nothing but a URL of your template, which is the HTML file. So if you notice here under the app, you find these files being created already. So app.html, app.component.html is a place, is a file which will be referred here in the app component TS, defined at line number 7. Similarly, for the style URL, you have a style file also available inside it, which is app component as CSS, and that's something which is referred here in app component TS, and that's something you can see at the line number 8, right? So these are some of the properties which are given here, and you may also notice that there is something called title. What by default happens here in case of Angular is that whenever it creates a default application, this is the variable that it creates, and if you wish to refer to this particular variable in your HTML component, all you need to do is basically define two curly braces and give the property here, and probably I can give it like this, Angular 19. Right, so what would happen? The title property would be displayed in your template. So let's just quickly have a look. Now you can see that the Angular World Hello from Angular World 19 and Dashboard ng19 is being displayed here. Let's say if you want to change this property, it's again very simple. All you need to do is just to go to the component and dashboard and then just change this, right? And then if you go back to Chrome browser, you will see that this is being updated as and when you change that particular property from the TS file, right? So that's all about the major properties given inside the component. I think we have already spoken about the fact that the selectors or standalone property is not really required to be displayed or inserted here in the component from Angular 19 onwards to be false or true. By default, all the component from Angular 19 onwards are going to be standalone component, right? So this is about one component. Now let's say if you had two other component. So let me just create another component from the CLI. So in order to do so, I'll just open the terminal up here, and what I'm going to do is I'll just reach here. So the command is ng c. G stands for generate, C for component, and header. So now if you look under the src folder, you would find the header component also written over here, and here in the HTML file you can see header works. Now let's see, these are the two component. In the app component, I also wish to put the header up in the top. So what I do is I'll just have to go over here and define the header component, which I have just recently created. Now look at the selector. So you say ng dashboard ng19 header, and please note that as in when I generated this particular component from the CLI, the prefix has become dashboard ng19 header, and it's not really app header. And how it has taken this dashboard ng19 is by giving a property here, the name prefix is line number define a line number 15 under the angular.json, right? And you wish to take this and also display in your component, all you need to do is define this here, save this. Now you can see there is a console error. And why is this? It's because we have not really imported this particular component here. So once you import this particular component here, and you can see that the application compiles properly, right? And then now what I'm going to do is I'll just go again to the app component, and I'm going to define this header right at the top. So let's do this, and now let me take you to the browser, and there you go. You can see that the header works appear here, right? So we have spoken about all the properties. We have also seen how to import two different component and how to use different component inside another component, and we have also seen how to use variables inside your component class, right? So that's all about the basics of app component and basics of component. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be defining this header class as red. As you can see that I've made a change here in the header.component.css, and the same is available here. And what I'm going to do is in the app component, I'm going to be displaying that in the blue color. So there is a property called host. So this particular property is defined. This particular property applies to a host class, and in this particular case it's going to be the app component. So everything behind the door, everything behind this particular component will be displayed in the aqua color as defined here in the app.component.scn, and the same thing would be displayed on the browser. Now let me take you to the browser, and there you go. You can see that the header appears in red and the body of this appears in aqua color. Now let me again take you back to the code, and let me just quickly give you a recap. So what we have learned in this tutorial is precisely how to use variables, how to style a component, how to use different components into one another, and how to render that on the page. So that's all about the component, ladies and gentlemen, for this Angular 19 tutorial. I'm going to be seeing in the next tutorial where I'll talk about the control flow and many other advanced chapter of Angular. So stay tuned, and if you haven't not really subscribed to my channel, please do so, because it's going to be really interesting going forward. Once we complete the basics, I'll tell you how to basically design a dashboard, something similar to what you see here, right? We're going to be designing the exact same one but using the Angular material. So stay tuned, and I'm going to be seeing you in the next one. Thank you.